And it's on. Blow your horn and know that it's time to ride with us through the bar. I don't know what I'm saying. I just want to tell you that
exactly. I was going to say what's happening at this point.
that the boo bar started, and it's raining heavily out there.
Thank you.
And I think
Let's keep it simple.
the code is getting to me.
Let's keep it simple.
But seriously, what is the boom bar? The boom bar is where we kick back, relax, and talk music, sports, politics, and everything in between every weekday from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. West African time. My name is Sola Rogers.
And my name is Ola Dolupo. You know, the one and only. I'm right here at the bar, hoping to give you plenty gist about a lot of things that is happening, stuff that has happened, that is happening, and stuff that might happen or that will happen.
Yeah, it's news and current affairs, but in a laid-back format, you know. At times, we have cups. I have 2 today. Some people don't even have 1 today. You know, so it's a bar, basically. But it's not that bar where they just talk anyhow, I think.
Anyway, so let's dive right into this. You know, there's a lot that we're going to be talking about today. From there's a lot of sports, there's a lot of election drama, there's a lot of basic news at the bar today. So yes, we're going to be talking about all that and the news that everybody has been waiting for. The interesting news that
Every Nigerian
has been waiting.
Well-meaning Nigerian.
Very.
Emphasis on well-meaning.
Because not everybody that is well-meaning. Let's be honest. Anyway, now the CBN has finally found their voice. They have finally found ink in their printer.
And there's light to power their computer.
Power their computers.
So they could actually
And
type.
they have internet now.
And they could now type a press release at night.
Middle of night. After
The close of work.
After Mr. President, who has also been mute,
Extremely mute.
decided to throw some people under the bus.
You are on your
CBN
own.
is what?
He said you are on your own, Mr.
The Attorney
Malami.
General of the Federation. You know, that uncle used to do like as if he's he's the daddy of everybody.
Apparently,
Now,
he has a daddy too.
the president, I've told you that you are on your own. He did not say that. But I have a grouse to pick with President Buhari though.
Go ahead.
And it's kind of like a question. I remember that there was an injunction before the official judgment by the Supreme Court. And remember that injunction had also said that before that everybody should maintain status quo and the monies should still be in until when the case is determined in court. It was after that time President Buhari came out to make a statement. Oh, correct me if I'm wrong. It was after that time he came out to tell everybody that it was only 200 naira notes that was allowed. All 200 naira notes that would still remain legal tender. Remember that I think he gave 60 days, which 60 days is even supposed to expire in a few weeks' time. But it was after that. So I feel that hadn't he already defied the court ruling at that point?
Yes, he had. That is the truth. You know, the statement by the media team of President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday, you see,
it was very unnecessary in my dictionary.
It was necessary.
You know why I said it was unnecessary?
It was necessary.
All everybody was waiting for the president to say was everybody should follow what the Supreme Court ruling said.
And that's where the problem is. Unnecessary and necessary. Now, if we're a nation of laws that believes in the rule of law, you do not need a statement by the president. You do not need a statement by
But we've seen
the
how
CBN.
the injunction, how it played out.
That's why if we're
So I think that was the problem.
if we're a nation of laws, emphasis on if we're a nation of laws, you go to the court, you get a judgment, you get a pronouncement from the, Supreme Court, the highest decision making organ. I mean, at least the highest court in the land, highest court, not decision making, but court in the land. And it says revert to status quo. And the government comes out to make a counter statement.
Yeah.
Because the president is immune from being sued, does not mean that there will not be a way around it. And let's not politicize this.
He was not even the one that was sued, huh? Shebi was his
That's
government.
That's the way around it.
Yeah.
That's the way around it. So let's not politicize it. That the truth is, the CBN cashless policy is what I support. I support the need to redesign the naira against counterfeiting and all of that. There's a law that says that you do this every 7 years.
Every 7 years.
We've not done it in over 15 years. That's one. But it's not that you would do it and now use it as a weapon or as a tool to make Nigerians suffer.
Yeah. Suffering is the list of the... If there's a word that we can use to describe it other than suffering, it is what it is. It is unnecessary. That's what I'm saying. If there's some things that we need to do, but this one is completely putting people in unnecessary hardship. So
hence the reason why I said that it was necessary and unnecessary. Unnecessary if we were a nation of laws and we believe in the law. The president didn't have to say anything. As soon as they left the CBN that day, the central bank that day, the Supreme Court, immediately as you step out like this, people should start spending that money. But you see, the banks held on because they had to get a green light from the CBN.
Which, even if that was the case,
the
CBN should have done something.
The CBN on its own part
put out the circular immediately.
Was playing the ostrich, acting like, look, it doesn't even concern them. Oh, we were not the ones that were sued. Okay, we hear you. Then the Attorney General, the one who is supposed to uphold the law. Now, this is where people get it wrong. When you employ someone, the person works for you.
Yeah.
Nigerians have employed you, yes, through the mandate of the president. The president has selected you because you're supposed to be capable. Now, you do not work for Muhammadu Buhari, you work for Nigeria.
You are the Attorney General of
the Federation. You're not the personal lawyer of Buhari or of APC.
Remember that was why there is a bill that is going out. I think one of the bills that the State Houses of Assembly that they said that they wanted to separate the offices of the Minister of Justice from the Attorney General.
Yeah, let them go ahead with it. With the way things have been done in Nigeria,
it's some things.
It's a necessary bill.
It's very necessary at this point.
As at the time the Supreme Court made that statement, the Minister for Justice did not even have to wait for a presidential pronouncement.
Yeah.
You are the one in charge, and the president said that he doesn't micromanage. It doesn't micromanage. So you know that this thing falls under your purview.
Yeah, but President Buhari threw all y'all under the bus. All of you.
Yeah, we can interpret it as that because, look,
he just outed you guys. Really, that's why I'm like that. I was wondering what that statement was for, and if you realize very quickly, if you check out that statement came out, and in about an hour or so, CBN decided to put out a statement that they had refused to put out.
A statement that they had typed already. That they had already. Look, this is it.
You had refused to talk about it for days.
I
don't think they needed to put a statement out. All they needed to do was to send a circular to banks, and that was all. We
can also, remember that the governor of Anambra State, who is a former governor of the CBN, said he spoke to the CBN. What he said and what happened, is it different? It wasn't. So as at Sunday you knew, as at Saturday you knew, but you allowed Nigerians go through that extra 2 or 3 days of suffering. Now, we can look at it in a different way. On behalf of the CBN, you can look at it and say, So the Supreme Court made a pronouncement that look, this money should still be used, right? Pending when they made the final decision about it. Then the president made a counter statement saying only 200 naira.
Exactly.
So, in fairness to the CBN, because I'm trying to balance things here, the CBN will be like, when central bank said A, the president said C.
So,
if we go and follow the central bank's B now, the president might say is D. So the CBN actually was waiting. Let's look at it from another angle. Let's balance things. Since we're all agreeing, let us also disagree on behalf of the people who disagree. And say, yes, the CBN will be like, the last time the court made a statement, what did the president say? So if we go and act based on this judgment, we don't know what the president will say.
They're saying that they had to wait for a pronouncement from the presidency.
Exactly. Again, why did the president wait until he got back to Abuja on Monday evening, or Monday afternoon?
That statement could have come from when he was in Daura, when he was...
If his media people are just taking to Twitter alone,
exactly.
His verified Twitter handle to say, we're wondering why the CBN has not followed the pronouncement of the Supreme Court. This is not the way to do things. Immediately,
really. I don't understand.
There's another angle and there's a story.
Yeah.
Still talking about the old Naira, new Naira, and what's going on. Videos and pictures have emerged of the old Naira that's already been shredded in large bags.
Exactly.
Now, so one of the commercial banks has come out to say we don't even have old Naira at all.
Exactly. So now the issue that's what I was going to say. So what happens? Wouldn't we still be in this quagmire? How much of the old Naira notes is still in circulation, or do the banks have, or does CBN even still have?
So, in governance and in management, you have long-term and short-term goals. You have low-hanging fruits. Of course, the opposite of a low-hanging fruit is a high-hanging fruit. But at least there's a fruit hanging somewhere that needs to be plucked. The whole process of mopping up the Naira, you were supposed to pump new Naira notes out, which you didn't do. Now, as a palliative, you're supposed to quickly bring out some of the old Naira that you have. You still haven't done that. You knew that the case was in court. You should have not started shredding or destroying
that money.
As it stands now, what you have destroyed is real money.
Yeah.
It's not paper.
It's no longer. It's
a legal tender
that you actually destroyed. And
there's a law against destroying the Naira. There is a law. You cannot spray the Naira. You cannot distort the Naira. You cannot mutate the Naira. Now the CBN is saying that this Naira is still a legal tender. And we are hearing that until you come out to tell us that those videos and pictures we saw, they are already mutilated money. They had to be sure. Okay. So bring back the ones that you mopped up. Because at this point, enough of this BS. It's honestly, enough of it.
You either print more money or you release the old one that is on ground. That's it. Because if those monies have actually been destroyed, or a large chunk of it has been destroyed, we will still be back to where we are. And that's the honest truth.
On a lighter note, we're still in the mood to protest. When we were younger, and a couple of years ago, the National Stadium Surulere was like the cold run. It was the place where the Super Eagles were virtually invincible. And one of the reasons why was the fans. It was massive. But you see, the fans also had a bad side, though. If they're watching a game and it's been 30 minutes, no goal, they had the song. It was a chant that would go round the entire stadium, and all of us would sing it. All we are saying, give us one goal or give us more goals. That's maybe they already scored one and they're like, okay, what's going on? We want more goals. Now that song had a way of actually intimidating your own players.
Yeah.
Than the opposing players. But take a line away from it today. All we are saying, give us our money.
Basically.
Our own money. We're not even begging
We're not
you
even doing cashless anymore.
for whatever. Give us
you.
our
Give us
money.
our money. We're okay. I think that and we know that this thing is not political, and the minute it was obvious it wasn't political was when APC governors were the ones that actually took the federal government to court.
Yeah, because constitutionally they couldn't sue the president. They would have sued the president too.
Because it wasn't just making sense. That's why people know that we need to stop politicizing some things, and we need to realize that these things are just basic common sense. Anyway,
again, before you move on from it, again, some politicians were caught on the wrong side of this naira mop-up policy by the CBN. I'm not going to name no names, but again, this is advice to politicians.
Be calming down before you make a statement.
Don't politicize
everything. Before we move on from that, the CBN has also come out to say that the cash withdrawal limit that the CBN had earlier announced.
The Supreme Court.
No, the CBN had announced. The Supreme Court has now.
You said the CBN had come out to say that the CBN.
Okay. The Supreme Court has now come out to say that giving an order now calling the cash withdrawal limit that the CBN put out as illegal.
Thank God.
Funny thing, I'm not sure I have a problem with it.
What is the
thing is
morale or the motive behind those limits and all those things that you're saying?
Is the point of the cashless thing so that you don't have so much cash, and if you want why I say that I don't have a problem with it is that the larger amount of money that you move without a paper trail, it can be very, very. So if you can move some large amounts of money without an e-transaction, then it's probably easier to track a lot of these monies. From that angle, I do not have I have a problem with the fact that people can take their monies, but when it comes to a large amount of money, I do not have a problem with what CBN said.
So this is my current take on it now. I don't trust the CBN at all. I have lost hope in the entire management structure of the CBN as constituted. By so doing, I have lost hope in all their plans, both short and long term. Yes, I stood on this same microphone here and said it was a good policy. But looking at the way they managed it, mismanaged it, I don't trust them.
I think I get what you're saying.
In a sensible country, by now, Elemelewele or whatever his name is,
oh God,
Ofiewele,
yeah,
or Elemele or something. Sorry, look, I'm trying to get your name right. And his entire management team. This is not a situation where you say the CBN governor should step aside and the deputy governor should take all the deputy governors, all the directors. They should leave.
Time to go. Come and be going.
They should all be fired. They should just go. Just leave. You turned a blind eye and deaf ears to the suffering of the Nigerians.
Yeah.
Even when the law does not empower you to do some of the things that you did.
You did.
The law said that this money is supposed to be legal side by side, and you're supposed to mop up, as people were bringing, and you were supposed to give them instead of a swap, you turned it to a mop up.
Anyway.
So which policy are they doing that I'm going to clap for them? They should go. By now, if Fielele should be on his way somewhere more serious.
Anyway, the NLC had yesterday given a 7-day ultimatum to the federal government to end the fuel and naira scarcity. Last I checked, I'm not sure we really have a fuel scarcity. We don't have fuel issues anymore.
We still do. There's still queues here and there, but it's not as biting as it was in the last 4 months.
Okay, so looks like that is there's something. Even though nobody came out to tell us what caused it and what was done to, we just Now, some of the conspiracy theories and stories are beginning to look very true. Also, they're talking about the naira crisis. We hope that at some point before the 7-day working day ultimatum is done, maybe, just maybe, a lot of these things would have subsided. So we will definitely come up with, we'll see what comes up with that. Now, let's move on from money issues. And now, the Nigerian Communications Commission, there's a lot of stories coming from their angle, or basically the IT. Now, they're saying the Communications Commission has approved harmonized short codes for mobile networks, and they've set deadline for May 17th. So I read this story, and basically what they're saying is that it's the same short code for every single network that you're going to use to load your airtime. It's the same short code that you use to check the balance of your airtime, the same short code that you would use for customer care service and all that, basically. So they're saying that we're having a harmonized phone number throughout.
It's a good thing. I'm not gonna lie. There are times when I want to top up data on one of my phones, then I Google all the time. I Google how to top up on this network. If everybody has same thing, it will be easier. Again, there's so many short codes that
it's too.
How many do they really expect us to
exactly?
cram?
I think that what the NCC is doing is good for mobile networks. I think that another thing they need to look into is also banks.
Very importantly,
those two, there are a lot of short codes and all that. If they can harmonize these ones too, I think that it will also be a good thing.
Yeah, because how many codes do you want to put on your head now?
If you have 3, 4, 5 bank accounts, which is possible, it's not what's it called? Most people have more than one bank account. So I think that banks too also need to look into this thing. Now, let's move on from that. As the Nigerian Railway Corporation has said that they're beginning construction of flyovers at level crossings in Lagos State. Basically, what they're saying is that they have begun construction of underground paths and overhead bridges at 11 level crossings across Lagos State. This is what happened with an update on what happened last week in Lagos State. They're saying that they've started the separation of road from rail at Oyingbo and Ebute Meta. What's going to happen with Yaba?
So they already started that with the rail construction that was going all the way to Apapa, which is a good thing. They didn't wait until we had a tragedy, but they are using the opportunity or the awareness around this sad incident from last week to say that they are also doing something about it. But that's them doing something about it with a new rail construction and road construction happening around the Costain Ebute Meta axis. What about the last 50 or 60 years of those rail tracks that run the entire gamut from Lagos to Kano?
I was going to say that I think the easiest thing they can do, or the low-hanging fruit that they can have now, is construct barriers, automatic barriers. And those things, what I mean by automatic barriers is when a train gets to probably have sensors. When a train gets to a certain place close to level crossings, those barriers automatically get to close.
They deploy, yeah?
They're deployed except they're following from village. Not that the one that happened on last week, it was not like they were not following from you, because I personally feel that they were following from village. It's not well.
He has apologized.
Apology kill him.
Edit the kill part. We are sorry.
I'm not.
We are actually.
Okay. 6 people have died. And all you have to say is an apology. Every time this conversation comes up, it's like it just.
But it's not hard now. There's a number of people that have lost their lives. Abi, there is a law against such things. Are you culpable or not?
Exactly. So
the guy should have his day in court.
Because why I'm saying so is that
that's the driver of the
Lagos
State staff bus.
We agree that there were no barriers in that place, except you are deaf.
But he was stopped and he refused to stop, according to eyewitnesses.
You are blind, that you did not see people trying to stop you. And according to eyewitnesses, there was talks about other vehicles stopping.
Yeah.
You know, when I used to say that people need to be checked upstairs, that person is no different from someone that is driving against traffic. Why?
Which we like to call one way in Nigeria.
Yeah?
So if you're not a Nigerian and you hear people say one way, you're wondering what's one way. One way is the mad people who drive against traffic, and we have that every day.
Yeah. And like what I always base it on is the fact that, like, this guy, this road is not it's not one way, so people are coming and going. Yeah. So I'm guessing people stopped on one side, people stopped on the other side, and only you, because I always look around my surroundings when you're in a public environment, and when you realize that you are the only one doing a particular thing, everybody is doing something opposite.
Yeah.
Madness is creeping in little by little.
True that. So,
it's madness.
But carry on.
So, which is why I said that they are all in the same. Even if you did not, you were deaf, you did not hear, or you did not see, okay, your boss was high, you did not see the flags of people telling you. You saw everybody else.
My thing with the automated barriers that you're talking about is that back in the day, especially that Yaba crossing, I remember clearly that we've been stopped more than once, and those barriers were not automated. There is a signal that is sent to the level crossing, and immediately you see them in a frenzy. The men of the NRC, Nigerian Railway Corporation, were very, very on point. They already have their red flags,
so
and the barrier stop and everything, and before you know it, the barriers come down. There's no going and coming. Everybody stays. You watch the train go by. If it's 40 coaches,
nothing you could do.
You're just going to. If it's only 2, there are times when you just see just the train head and one small coach.
You're happy like, oh God.
Thank God. But you watch them go by all the time. So, and this was in the 80s.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
this was in the 90s.
And I remember there's a particular place where people that know, of course, those things are not there anymore. I remember very well 2 things that were very common when you want to go into Alesholoye Market and that rail that is there. There was a yellow and black. It was painted yellow and black. Yeah. The barrier there. Then there is a huge light, annoying. Even during the day, you will not expect it. It's like blinking. That's minus the noise that the train is making.
Exactly.
It's blinking red lights all over, and everybody's. Do you understand? So I'm like, if you don't see all those things, the annoying noise of a train alone.
Yeah. So again, the reason why I don't want automated barriers, but I want barriers, is that I'm not sure about the ability to power those things, like the ability to generate
maybe if there are
the power
cars on that thing when it's trying to come down.
You get. So let them bring back the barriers the way they were in the past.
There are already people manning those level crossings
anyway. They're paid to do it. Then also maybe build some kind of watchtower or something, and different things that will make their work easier. You understand? But the permanent solution is what the Nigerian Railway Corporation is talking about. The construction of underground passes and overhead, depending on the topography and the soil structure and everything, and the pressure at each.
I was going to say that in this Lagos state, I think that underground is going to be very difficult. Why? Not saying that it's not possible. I'm just saying that take that road, for example. For you to build underground level crossings in that place, it's going to take major construction, going to take shutting down a number of roads.
Whatever it takes, the permanent solutions. If you that's why they have also opted for both options. They're going to have it at different places, and for you to have 11 places where the Nigerian Railway Corporation plans to or is already constructing, flyovers and underground passes, shows you how busy Lagos is. And again, it's also a determinant factor of the speed of the train, the Lagos-Ibadan train. They don't move fast when they are in the Lagos metropolis because of all these reasons. And because a large chunk of Nigerians see the rail track as a viable spot for buying and
business.
selling.
Yeah.
We need to start reorientating them and tell them this is completely wrong.
I don't know whoever started it.
If you find your way,
it was never a thing.
If you find your way to Awolowo Road in Ikoyi, Lagos, and you're coming in from the Falomo end, just immediately after the Catholic Church, or I think that's the Church of Assumption or something, once you get into the Awolowo Road, the very first bus stop there's actually an underground pass for pedestrians. It's been there for like 1 million years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was shut off because it wasn't being maintained. Then when I think Babatunde Raji became governor, the thing was cleaned out, reconstructed. They put lights there, and people could actually go under and get to the other side of the very short road, but it will prevent people from crossing, at least at that point. Of course, some people, I was talking to someone when they were like, he said, well, they go attack you under that place. So I'm like, okay, this is where we are. So,
I think that I don't blame some people.
Any of these constructions, I'm just trying to say that
make it a thing.
It has to be properly illuminated and guarded.
Exactly. If we actually make it a thing, it might not be so much of an issue. Anyway,
do you know there are stories of people being attacked on pedestrian bridges?
Oh yes.
So
that's what I'm saying, that
early in the
things
morning
are done properly and more people use them. I think that the more crowd in those places, the less crime will be perpetrated in those places. Anyway, now before we move on to election stories, it has now been announced that Nigerians would have to pay a 1,000 naira fee for NIN verification during passport application from the month of April.
1,000 naira. It's on a need-to-know basis. It's IGRL for federal government.
I was going to say that this looks like a way to just
generate
money.
Because the NIN is issued by the government.
Anyway, but you know that it's free to collect NIN. So now, at least you shall pay something.
For the number that they issued to me by the same government that is supposed to be sharing data with the passport office.
They need to verify if your NIN is real or not.
Okay.
So, shout out to everybody that has international passports.
Okay.
And your passport is going to going to expire very soon. Shout out to us all.
The thing is, if it's 1,000 for 1,000, no problem.
I hope that it is 1,000
because
for 1,000.
At times,
even if it's 1,000 for 1,000, I think it's a lot of money for it right now. If you really do not need a passport, even though it's at times you never know when you're going to need those things. Yeah, it's one of our identifications that is not, I won't call it expensive, but at least you have to pay for it. Like for an NIN, you don't pay to get an NIN. You don't pay to get like your voters cards. Those are things I personally always tell people that go and collect your voters card because it's a valid ID card for you and it's free. Because if you compare it to the amount of money and the amount of time that is needed to get like your passport or your driver's license or something, which I'm guessing that, because now you also need NIN for like driver's license or something. I won't be surprised if in the coming weeks too they tell you that you need to pay 1,000 naira for NIN verification for driver's license and all those things. But that's the news there, Sha. From April, you are going to pay 1,000 naira. Looks like just
as long as it's not another way for people to start extorting money, it's fine by me actually.
Anyway, so let's move on from that and let's move on to, we have a lot of gist coming from elections. Now, the first one that this actually really did catch my eye, and The federal government, through the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, has said that about 12,988,978 attacks within Nigeria and outside Nigeria were recorded during the presidential election. This was attacks on the country's servers, more like INEC servers, basically.
It's not shocking, but it is shocking. It's not shocking in the sense that 4 years ago, when there was no server like that, some people based their their court case on the server, and it was almost as if there was some kind of vendetta or a plan to get some access to it one way or the other. Now that there is an existing server and all of that, there are people who claim that they try to access it. There's a video that I saw on Twitter, and in the video it's an audio, of a young man who claims to be an IT person, that one party had contacted him, but he said he wasn't interested in working for them as a hacker, but that he has access to the INEC server, but he tried to log in, he couldn't log in, he saw that they had gone offline. He was saying all sorts of things, and I'm like,
are you
this
implicating yourself?
Exactly.
I see, people need to be easy.
And he was mentioning some celebrities that he's been trying to reach them, that he wants to prove one case or the other. And I said to myself, if there's one person making this kind of call, do you know how many people are in the guy's category?
Yeah, they're saying that, according to the minister, they're saying that about 1.5 million were recorded daily to public websites and portals, and that the figure skyrocketed to about 6.9 million on the presidential election day itself. So if we look at these numbers, and if these numbers are really true, do you actually blame INEC for coming out to say that results were going to be collated manually?
No, I don't. You can't blame them if this was the case.
Because the interesting part for me was that if something and it was hacked and all that, and these things were collated online, I think it would have caused a lot of chaos, because what it means is that what people probably snapped from our polling units might not be what we see on IREV now. And how do you understand? We wouldn't have had an election, probably would have had to cancel the whole elections, and there would have been a lot of chaos. I think that definitely the Nigerian system needs a lot more work with it. We're happy that at least the ones that the attacks they got, they could shrug them off. They've gotten to that. I think our IT is getting to that point. But I do not understand why people are so interested.
What do you mean you don't understand why? Power is at stake. You can't trust anybody. You can't trust any of the politicians. Even some young people might just want to be naughty and want to prove a point or whatever. When it comes to the internet, man, anything can happen. The most important part of it is that they were able to survive over 12.9 million cyber attacks within a very short space. It shows that they have a very, very, very secure, internet presence. The Ministry of Digital Economy and all of that.
Communication.
That's Professor
Issa Pantami.
I think that they have some level of kudos. You must say to them, well done.
Yeah.
Because again, when they don't do well, you give them knocks.
I think that's one ministry that has actually grown in leaps and bounds. That you definitely cannot take away from them. Still talking about elections. There's been a story that has been going around for the past few days. I'm sure you had seen it also, about the Speaker of the House of Representatives not going to collect his certificate of return because he didn't care about the elections, and he's supposed to be in line for the Chief of Staff to the President-elect.
rumors.
Yeah, that's what I said. The stories, yeah. And now he has now come out to debunk those stories. He's saying that he was in Lagos for campaigns, and that he doesn't know where that story originated from. Not like he doesn't care, but that 4 years ago he did not even go and collect it then. That he would go. That is not compulsory to go on that particular day that he was campaigning, and that's what is important at the moment.
Yeah. So, Mr. Gbajabiamila, the Speaker of the House, quickly nipped some rising rumor in the bud. You know, it is like killing two birds with one stone, and that's what he's done. Again, there is almost as if because there's more interest in politics this time. A lot of people don't understand that
how things work.
How things work.
Exactly.
You know? So again, I look at it from the media angle too. Not every media person is necessarily trained as a media person, and they see everything as content, even when it's just
Are we saying
a
that he's
rumor
the
or
only
a
one
conjecture.
that did not go and collect his certificate of return?
And there's a Yoruba saying that you cannot have fire burning your roof, then you go into sleep. So as a politician, he knows that there's fire on the roof in Lagos.
And
believe
it's
it or not,
compulsory for me to be
some ceremony where you just pick up.
Exactly. You know, I remember having
For a guy that has picked up several, anyway.
Fine. Exactly. You know, I was having this conversation with someone 2 days ago, and then the person was like, "This thing probably does not shock this man anymore. He's collected 5, so he knows how to collect it when he needs to. Him being there is not even." And the honest truth is that it's actually not compulsory for you to be there to collect it. So, I like you said, it looked like it was just people just grasping at straws and just wanted to. Because I'm like, if he was in line to be the new president's chief of staff, I think it would be a waste of time to contest an election
and win.
It wouldn't have made any sense. Anyway, now the PDP Campaign Council has something to say. They've alleged that INEC is imputing wrong figures on the server. This server again. Anyway, so yeah, that's it.
Alright, the thing about this thing is when people make these statements, I try not to write them off. I want to believe that for me to come out boldly to make such a statement, I definitely have, evidence. So I want to give the PDP the benefit of the doubt. It's actually possible that they might have caught the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, doing what they accuse them of. What if it is true? But if it is not true, at some point in time, for the integrity of our election results, the INEC management also needs to make use of its legal team.
Yeah.
There are too many conspiracy theories and stories flying about. You have a budget for everything now. You should have a budget for the media and the legal aspect of everything too. So why don't you maybe sue one of these parties or these people?
I think it's a law
to prove that they are wrong and help build your own credibility.
Anyway, we definitely will see where that is going to. Now, the Labour Party has now also released his list of as legal team. Everybody is releasing their own. The APC released the list. The PDP also released the list. Now, the Labour Party has released the list because it's legal season.
Yeah, it sounds like the World Cup. Whenever it's time for the World Cup, you see all the participating countries bring out a list. The first short list of maybe 35 or 30. Then eventually the 23 with 2 or 3 players on standby on the standby list and everything. This is what it sounds like, And even some of the parties are now even making this legal team list into a thing. Was the PDP's spokesperson, Daniel Bwala. They were saying that look at the composition of their own legal team. It shows that they have a spread. As a unifier, there are people from different parts of Nigeria in the team. Then I went to look at the one of the APC and I said, okay, there's a spread here too. I see names that are, of northern and southeastern and Yoruba extraction. Then people started pointing out to the Labour Party list. Oh, it's just a team of. I said, well, I don't know about that. But now that they brought out the official list, it also, says that these parties are ready to go all the way, and they're trying to do it the right way by, going to court.
Yeah. So we definitely would see where that is going to. Now, police have declared another House of Rep member, Yakubu, Shehu, wanted for homicide, and in fact, they have placed a 1 million naira bounty on his head.
Now, this person, this lawmaker, is allegedly also a lawbreaker. For the police to place a bounty on his head, it's a serious thing.
Yeah.
And I hope that, they don't sweep this one under the carpet.
Yeah.
I hope that they go all the way to get this person and have him pay for the crimes that he has allegedly, perpetrated or committed. Being a lawmaker or being a politician does not give you any leeway, to commit this kind of crimes. And it sounded like something heavy for the Nigerian police to place a 1 million naira bounty on his head. If you need a cool 1 million, Google the guy's name, you see his picture, and maybe help the police hunt for the guy.
Okay. Now, also, the story coming. The police has arrested a lot of people. This is very interesting. The police have arrested a tenant who allegedly killed their landlord by grabbing his human thing to death.
So,
those don't make plenty sense to me, but
it's not funny if you.
Would you do such a thing? And to the extent that he killed the man.
The story is about a landlord and a tenant who had a disagreement. The lady who has now been arrested by the police says that when she rented the house, there were some things that were supposed to have been done that were not done. And for this reason, she's not going to pay bills anymore, electricity or utility or whatever. Because the landlord is said to have gone to her to try and get her to pay her electricity bill. And it led to some kind of argument, and eventually she might have struck him, hit him. I don't know if he was standing or falling, but they said he got dragged. Physically got dragged by his member. And by the time people intervened and tried to take him to the hospital, he was brought in dead. He was gone. It was gone.
It's
possible.
I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying that, what was she thinking? I think that you could take his case, report him to the police or something. Now she's arrested. Now she's worse than where she got from. Now she doesn't even have. Okay, she has house draft, free house draft. I don't understand. Like, I don't know why we go to some certain extent to do the things that we do. Anyway, wanted to put out this one because I think that is something that we've been hearing a few, and I think that we all need to do a lot of checks with ourselves. And this is a story of a church drummer, specifically House of the Rock drummer, who died during church service.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So, a gospel artist, Travis Green, who is an American, but he's used to the Nigerian scene, had put out some kind of greeting to the church and said that made me look into it and all. And of course, the House on the Rock too, Pastor Paul Adefarasi and members have already started commiserating with his family.
Yeah, I remember. I think I saw it. Was he on Nathaniel Bass's page a few days ago? That was when I first saw the story. So I didn't know how the person died.
So this is the thing. We take a lot of things for granted. I'm not a doctor, but I know that virtually every human being has one medical issue or the other. Mm-hmm. It's in varying, degrees, and at times they're not life-threatening. But not everybody knows what they're dealing with. Mm-mm. Not everybody knows how they're dealing with whatever it is. So it's so sad that this happened live, during church and everything. Service. Some people will say, "Oh my God, it's a blessing." Some people see things like, "Oh, it happened to the house of the Lord," and because you assume that it is
wouldn't it be better if he didn't die at home?
Yeah,
you get.
But for whatever it is, it's a call for people to, even us, we're hypocritical about these things, but it's a call for us to try and know our status and try and do as many checks as possible to know what might be wrong or not wrong with you. Maybe there might be a solution or not. But, what's important for me at a time like this is how his wife, his family, they might be coping with, the loss of
the loss, very sudden
person,
one.
Because for him, he must have left home that morning and be like, "I'll see you guys after service."
Probably.
She's probably in church. Or she's coming for the second service or one funny thing.
Do you understand?
It's a sad thing.
Exactly. It's a very, very sad thing though. But I think that's basically it. Everybody just needs to be careful. We really need to check up on ourselves. So before we go quickly, there's a bit of sports news. Now, it has been announced that FIFA said that there are going to be 40 more matches in the 2026 World Cup. I think from 64 matches that happens normally, they had announced that it was going to be 80 because of the increased number of teams. Now they're saying that there's going to be a total of 104 games.
Well, it's more football for football lovers.
Yeah, more teams to play.
It's a bigger playing field now. More countries can make it to the World Cup. It's been an exclusive club, and it still is. What is funny about the increase in games or whatever is that there's an exclusive club of World Cup winners, and it hardly ever expands. From Brazil to England, who won it once, to the Germans, the Italians,
the French,
the Argentines.
That's it.
No, it's just a close. It's a CUG, close user group. So increasing the number of games does not necessarily mean that we would have a new winner. Yeah. But it would
funny enough, this last World Cup looked from the beginning like there was going to
be the eventual winners actually lost. They lost their first game now.
Yes,
Argentina lost to a country that they really wouldn't have lost to. But that's the beauty of the World Cup. So more games. I just pity the footballers and how they have to go from playing 9 months of club football.
Yeah, but according
to
them now, they're saying that they're not going to be more matches in that sense for the players or for the teams. It's just more teams. So it's still the same number of
but that's
days.
What I'm still saying. What I'm talking about is that there are more countries that will join now.
Also, more teams. It means that there'll be more players.
Yeah. So but even if it's just maybe 5 players from Arsenal and maybe 2 from Chelsea and 10 from Liverpool. What it still means is that all those guys would have played an entire 9 months with their club. And during that period of playing for 9 months, if you play for a top team, you play more games. You play 3 or 4 competitions. You play on the continent, you play 3 or 4 local tournaments. Then you don't even get to rest. Immediately that is done, you just find yourself in the national team camp, then at the World Cup.
The World Cup again.
So that's just what I'm pointing out. The fact that players are playing more.
Alrighty. So now still talking about a bit of football. Arsenal have now come out to, they seem to have scooped up a lot of awards that happened last night at the London Football Awards. I know that goal of the year was to Tottenham's Son, but Arsenal's manager, Mikel Arteta, was awarded with Manager of the Year.
So Tottenham has a son?
Yeah, they do actually.
Wow.
Martin Odegaard took home the Premier League Player of the Year. Bukayo Saka who was nominated for Player of the Year, got the Premier League Young Player of the Year. And finally, Aaron Ramsdale also got Goalkeeper of the Year award.
Honors that are well deserved. Leave your beef behind. Leave your grievances behind. Leave the banter behind. Arteta has done very, very well for the Arsenal. You cannot argue with that. Oh my God. Who wouldn't want a Bukayo Saka in their team?
Their team, yeah. Exactly.
So these honors, okay, some people will say, it's just London award. Okay. But at least they did something to deserve it. And these are all pointers to the kind of season that Arsenal is having and should have at the end. Like, the only team that can stop Arsenal now, where they are, is Arsenal.
Exactly. They're at a point where they don't need permutations or combinations. They don't need anybody to win or lose their games. All they need now is for them to win their games, and they're good.
That's all.
And they're good. I get what you're saying. Now, also, for all you people that go to clubs and go to watch games and you are badly behaved, the long hand of the arm of the court is coming to meet you. As a man called Antonio Neal, who sent a racist message to Ivan Toney over social media. Just social media. He did not even have to go there. October 14th last year has now been handed a 3-year stadium ban.
Yeah. So we had this discussion a couple of hours ago off air. And this is a landmark decision. If people think they can hide behind their keyboards, we see it all the time. You see people, they even go create fake accounts
and say all sorts of things.
Yeah, you're a coward actually for you to do that. You're a coward.
And we see it a lot. There's a lot of racial abusers online. You hear someone loses a penalty, and then you go also.
You remember the treatment that the black players
in England
of the English national team
Rashford,
through.
Bukayo Saka,
Jadon
Sancho. There's this other person. I can't remember his name.
I think it's the Chelsea guy. There were 4 of them. They went through hell.
It's really horrible, the kind of things that people say.
And look at those guys now. Look at how
I keep saying
well they're doing.
actually doing very well, surprisingly. And not surprisingly, actually, because they actually have always been very good. The honest truth is that people just need to have sense. It's obvious that people are very vile. I was still telling someone a few days ago that no wonder there's a lot of depression and mental issues, because people's minds are very disturbed. Kind of things that you open your mouth and say to other people.
We're in the era of people celebrating violence. I look at even older people and say, violence. I'm like, are you thinking you don't understand that this is going to have a ripple effect? When you encourage people to be vile, when you encourage and celebrate the fact that someone is taking someone down,
it's just
because they can, just because they can hide behind the keyboard.
Things that you probably
half of these cowards cannot say it to your face.
That's it. We can disagree and not be vile.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the message that I'm leaving you with. And on that note, that is all we'll be able to take today on the Boom Bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you a wonderful edition of The Bar. Peace.